throughout the country as an expert in highway drug interdiction, hidden compartments, and street drug valuation. After retiring from the Maryland State Police in 2006, he was elected Sheriff of Wycomico County, Maryland on November 7, 2006. Please join me in welcoming Sheriff Lewis to the rostrum for some brief remarks.
I'm going to lower this down just a little bit. We from the South aren't as tall as some of these boys sitting up here behind me, I can tell you that. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to address the latest graduate class of New Jersey's finest, and I mean that. A special group of men seated up front here today. Law enforcement officers have made a conscientious decision to raise what they do to the next level, to raise the bar in aggressive patrol work. I thank our Police Canine Trainer Association President Ken Sakovich for his kind invitation to be a part of today's ceremony, and I mean that. This Canine Academy is very fortunate to have Ken Sakovich leading our new generation of men and women into the law enforcement profession, especially our canine graduates. Our acquaintance began many years ago as I taught right here in Gloucester County. As a Sheriff of Wycomico County, Maryland, down on Maryland's Eastern Shore, I recognize the importance of police canines and the invaluable role they play in 21st century policing. I lead an agency of only 96 sworn deputies. However, 8 of those are canine handlers. I've learned firsthand the importance of a dog, either on a traffic stop or while searching for explosives in our local courts. Indeed, they have a role today. The men and women sitting before me today are true professionals. They clearly have a plan for the present and a vision for the future. That's why we're here today. Graduates, you have endured a very difficult period in your lives during the past 16 weeks. Training for a career in law enforcement is tough enough. But training to be a dog handler, a canine officer, just compounds what I believe is already a very laborious task. Your training was not easy because being a canine handler is not easy. That is why I applaud you for choosing this particular vocation. You will find it to be a career unparalleled like no other. As you move forward on this day, this will be a very complex, challenging, and demanding career. I promise you that. One that will generate incredible stress on you and on your families who have joined you here today. I want each of you graduates to reflect on the role that your families have had in your success. You did not get it on your own. The support and encouragement provided by your loved ones was a significant contribution to your ability to reach this milestone here today. I hope you take the time to thank your families and acknowledge your contributions as well. Today is a unique moment in your life. It is a unique moment for your respective agencies and your chiefs and your sheriffs. Because your chiefs, your sheriffs, and your colleagues are just as excited as you are. Trust me when I say that. You entered this building as a lonely patrolman. Whether you're married or single, you will leave here with a new partner. A partner that will dwell within your inner soul. A partner that will remain with you most likely until death do you part. You will leave here today as a handler with a proud profession of New Jersey law enforcement. You came here this morning with broad authority. I recognize that. Authority bestowed on all New Jersey law enforcement. But you will leave here with a new authority associated with that of a canine handler. You will leave here with the authority few in our nation possess. The authority to restrict one's freedom. And if necessary, take a human life. These are also responsibilities. They're responsibilities that you must consider each and every day you suit up and go out on patrol. With this new authority comes the duty required of each of you to ensure the civil and constitutional rights of every person you encounter. Whether it's a simple traffic stop, a serious criminal arrest, or the tracking and apprehension of a murder suspect, you must do your utmost to treat every individual with fairness, equality, and with the rights and all rights guaranteed and afforded under law. But let me make one thing perfectly clear. No criminal has a constitutional right to escape detection. It will be up to you to employ your powers of observation, your tracking skills, to identify any and all signs of criminal activity while on patrol. You will continue to be charged with upholding, protecting, and preserving our United States Constitution, including one's Fourth Amendment right against unlawful searches and seizures, and one's Second Amendment right to bear arms. These rights are sacred more now than ever, under the current administration. Association President Ken Sackridge has ensured you have received excellent training here in Gloucester County. Ken, you have carefully executed this mandate. You have proven yourselves by completing the task required during your extensive 16-week training. It is now up to you to prove yourselves worthy of the profession for which you have trained. Now, you cannot walk out of here today with this new authority and responsibility and expect to be like every other police officer. You are no longer like everyone else. You are canine handlers. You're a special breed. Remember, it's important you realize that we are held to a higher standard. Your chiefs, your sheriffs, and your citizens have placed their trust in you and granted you a tremendous amount of authority. They expect you to exercise authority appropriately, justly, and according to the laws of the state of New Jersey and the United States of America. There are roughly 740,000 men and women in America today who make up our thin blue line. Historically, they are broken down into 3 categories, and don't you ever forget what I'm about to say. You will have those who go out there every day, and they will make it happen. You will have those who go out there every day, and they will watch it happen. And then you will have those wondering forever, now how in the world did that happen? Trust me when I tell you that. For 31 years in law enforcement, I've seen those cops broken down into those 3 categories. Being a 22-year veteran of the Maryland State Police and having proudly served as sheriff of Wycomico County for the past 9 years, I still believe that being a law enforcement officer today is like having a front row seat to the greatest show on earth. I still love suiting up in the morning, going out in this world to confront the dangers you'll continue to be faced with every day. More now than ever, because you are a special breed. You are a canine handler. You will be summoned to the scene of almost every major incident. It was just this past weekend we had 2 police officers executed in separate incidents, one in Cincinnati, Ohio, and one in New Orleans. These police officers were executed by determined thugs. And again on Wednesday this week, Sergeant Chris Kelly of the Hutto, Texas Police Department was run down, struck, and dragged to his death by a suspect in a stolen police car. He leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. 2 more officers died in on-duty automobile crashes. That's 5 police officers in 5 days. And just this morning on my way to work, I was notified of another police officer who was killed last night in the line of duty. Certainly, they will not be the last to die this month, and it's already June the 26th. Yet each of those has chosen this profession. Each one has chosen this profession. Tonight, before we go to bed, I ask everyone in this auditorium to continue to pray for our fallen officers and their families. Let's pray that their families continue to receive much needed support in their time of need. Today, in these troubling times, I believe there are several values you must continue to possess, more today than ever before, to effectively fulfill your role as a public servant. I know the importance of loyal, duty, respect, honor, integrity, personal courage, and selfless service. Loyalty means being true to your nation, your state, your county, and your respective agency. Duty means doing the job you have taken an oath to perform. Respect. Respect your police chief, your sheriff, because they will demand of you equal respect for everyone in your department, and especially for the citizens we continue to serve. Honor. We must be honorable in all that we do. Integrity. That means I am of my word and I am above reproach. There is nothing more harmful to the law enforcement profession than a police officer who loses his or her integrity. The actions of one will reflect on us all. Personal courage. Each of you must be a person of courage regardless of the circumstances. And selfless service. This means you will always put others above your own. Sometimes it's hard for us to see examples of all these qualities exhibited in one person. I am grateful for the individuals in my life who have exemplified these qualities. I still have the privilege every year to spend time with one of those individuals. You see, he was a 7-year veteran of the Maryland State Police. He was the proud father of a 7-month-old baby girl. And he was my friend, he was my partner, and he was my colleague 17 years ago when he was brutally shot and killed during a routine traffic stop on U.S. Route 13. Although he was wearing his body armor as required by agency rules and regulations, 2 North Carolina drug traffickers, armed with a .45 caliber handgun, would shoot him at point-blank range. The bullet would strike him to the left of the bridge of his nose, and it would take out the back of his head. Trooper Eddie Plank would be pronounced dead in my presence. As I place a wreath on his tombstone during special occasions, I'm always reminded of the very danger we face every day while protecting the citizens we are sworn to serve. You're continuing your law enforcement careers at a very challenging time for our nation. More challenging today than it's ever been. We remain a nation at war. This war is unlike any other our nation has ever engaged. The enemies we fight hate the freedom that is the foundation of our nation. They despise the rights that we hold so dear, the rights of freedom of speech, freedom of worship, and freedom of assembly have no place in their creed. Their leaders are chosen with bullets, not ballots. They stand against everything our nation represents. The soldiers of this enemy are not just on a foreign battlefield under an identifying flag. There are enemy soldiers among us, disguising themselves every day as normal citizens. Yes, they do live in our neighborhoods. They attend our universities, and they use our banks, our communication networks, and they use our highways every day. You see, all 19 terrorists that attacked our great country on September 11, 2001 drove to the crime scene in an automobile. All 19, without exception. As I've taught many times before in the classroom, criminals will always remain most vulnerable at the traffic stop. A well-trained, well-educated, and vigilant police officer makes all the difference in the world. You see, on September 11th, one of those 19 terrorists was stopped for speeding on Interstate 95 in Maryland by one of my own Maryland State Troopers. He was issued a citation for traveling 90 miles per hour when he posted 65. He was sent up the road where hours later, he would board United Flight 93 at Newark International Airport. That plane was the fourth of four hijacked aircraft that they destined to cripple our nation. The pilot of United Flight 93 was none other than Z.I. Gyra, the man we had stopped just hours earlier on Interstate 95. Although destined for our nation's capital, several courageous passengers on board that aircraft, including New Jersey businessman Todd Beamer, determined not to die at the hands of those terrorists, attempted to storm the cockpit. Moments later, that jumbo jet, with 44 women, children, and men on board, would slam into the mountains of Shanksville, Pennsylvania, killing all. America's police officers now find themselves with a new role. Yes, we must continue to protect our communities from the traditional criminals who prey on our citizens. But in this new century, we must also stand a vigilant guard against those whose unyielding passion is to see our nation and our way of life destroyed. One must have faith. I can't imagine going to work or going on patrol today without faith. I feel compelled to share with you a verse from Romans 13, verse 1. It's a verse I've shared dozens of times over the years with fellow law enforcement officers who have been involved in very traumatic incidents. And in many cases, they've taken a human life. It says this: everyone must submit himself to governing authorities, for there is no authority that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, he who rebels against the authorities is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment against themselves. As newly installed canine handlers, canine teams, you're about to embark on a new mission. You are a chosen few from the many who first applied for these positions. You have received the necessary training, and your instructors on this stage here today believe you are ready. I urge you to have confidence in the training you have received in the past 16 weeks. But always remember, your training will never end. As a canine handler, you will learn something new every day. Always seek to learn from your new experiences and from your fellow handlers. Remember to uphold the highest standards of our law enforcement profession. Someone once said, reputation is the shadow of character. That means the reputation of any organization is a direct result of character exhibited by its own members. The reputation of New Jersey law enforcement is a result of the high quality of character exhibited by the men and women who have come before you. They expect you to carry on that tradition. The people of your county and the state look to you to carry this on as well. We have an important job to do in the days ahead. I join President Ken Sackledge when I say to you, welcome to the world of Hamlin. Welcome to the canine law enforcement profession. Welcome to what I consider to be the greatest show on earth. When you walk out these doors today, brothers and sisters in law enforcement, welcome to the real world of canine policing. It is now showtime. I wish God's protection for you and for your beautiful families who have joined me here today. Remember, we have all given some, but there are some who have given all. As you leave this auditorium, I ask you never to forget this. Above all else, you and your partner come home alive. God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Lewis, for those really inspiring remarks. Perhaps the best ever. Thank you. Sergeant Prentice, prepare the class for graduation. As the graduates would surely attest, the training that they endured over the course of the last 16 weeks was never easy. Some would say that those last 4 months were more challenging than those they spent in basic training at the police academy, something that Sheriff Lewis alluded to just a few moments ago. However, despite the rigors and hardships of the training they received here, the course was not devoid of occasional humor. Sergeant Joseph Kelly of the Cherry Hill Police Department has prepared a brief video presentation for your enjoyment that highlights key aspects of the training regimen and perhaps some of the lighter moments of the class experience.